Today I'm going to show you how you can easily load weather forecast data from multiple locations into MicroStrategy's business intelligence platform. I'll then make a simple dossier to show how to display those weather forecasts onto a map for visual display and further analysis. I'll start by navigating to the Visual Crossing Weather Data download page and logging into my Visual Crossing Weather account. If you don't already have an account, you can get one by clicking on the orange button on the right-hand side of the page. Signing up for a free trial account will give you instant access to a full 15-day weather forecast for any location. For this demonstration, I'll select the option to manually enter the location for which I'm seeking the forecast. However, I could instead load in a sheet of addresses or paste in a list as plain text. And for my first address, instead of manually typing an address, I'll tell the system to use my current location by clicking on the Populate from Your Location link. I'll also give this location a friendly name to make it easy to identify in the output data. For the weather query type, I'll choose the default option, which will give me a full 15-day weather forecast. In this panel, I could instead choose a weather history query to generate historical weather summaries or to request hourly data. Please see our other videos and tutorials for more information on these options. When I run the weather forecast query, I'll be shown the weather calendar view. I could stop here and download the query data as a CSV or load it directly into MicroStrategy. However, since this demonstration is about using multiple locations, I'll click on the Locations button near the top of the screen to add more locations. I can simply repeat the earlier steps. This time I'll type in additional locations manually. However, for the more typical use case, we would want to load the locations via a spreadsheet or a list. For example locations, we'll use New York City and Boston, Massachusetts. Now when I run the updated weather query, I can use the calendar view to compare the forecast for these multiple locations easily. I can also change to the grid view to see more details or download the data as a CSV file. However, instead I'll switch to the API view and copy the query URL. Now I can use this URL to load the weather query results directly into MicroStrategy. To demonstrate how to do that, I'll switch to the MicroStrategy web interface. I'll first select the option to add external data from the Create menu. This is the option that's used to load a cube of external data into our MicroStrategy analysis. Then I'll press the option to load data from a URL. MicroStrategy Web will now prompt me for the URL, and I can simply paste in the Visual Crossing Weather Query URL and click Finish to submit the query. MicroStrategy will now load the weather forecast data into a cube based on the query that I defined a moment ago. It will then prompt me to save this new data cube, so I'll save it into my weather folder. And then I'll tell MicroStrategy to create a new dossier for me to analyze this data. I'll wrap up this demonstration by setting up a simple temperature graph to show how easily the weather data is available in a dossier. I'll begin by building a grid with the date, latitude, longitude, and name values on the rows. I'll need to use the latitude and longitude to display points on the map. Before I add the temperature metrics, I need to tell MicroStrategy how to aggregate them. Since averages are best for showing temperatures on a graph, I'll change both minimum and maximum forecast temperature to show as averages. Finally, I'll add the date to the filter so that I can interactively switch among the 15 days in the forecast. When I select a single day on the filter, only a single day of data will be shown on the grid and the map. Now with a single click, I'll change the grid into a visual crossing map. I'll quickly configure the map to display points based on the latitude and longitude values. I'll also configure the temperature to display as a color sequence and also the pop-up label for each location. When I click the Create button, I can see the 3 points from my query on the map. They are color-themed based on the temperature and the filter, and I can get more details by using the pop-up labels. As I change the MicroStrategy date filter, the map automatically updates to show me the appropriate forecast values. Of course, we've only just begun to scratch the surface of how to use mapping and weather data to do useful analysis in MicroStrategy. We can now begin to add our business layers and correlations to make intelligent decisions based on changing weather and climate. If you would like to learn more about using other visual crossing weather options, such as historical weather data, summary reports, and using weather data within other analysis tools, please see our other videos and tutorials. Thank you for watching.